stuff. Good stuff.
Good
I sounded so German
good
for a second.
stuff.
Good stuff.
Guten Tag.
Disclaimer, right away. If you love Lisa from Blackpink,
Maybe exit out of this video.
because the thing is, you're probably not gonna be normal about this, and this isn't gonna be tons of hate or something like that. But we need to say things.
For what they are.
For what they are. But the topic of this episode is alter egos in art, how common they are. We will make a couple of jokes about it, and how successful is it really, like an alter ego in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, with alter egos, I would say that out of all types of art, it's probably the most common for fine artists to just use a different name, for musical artists to really, really use alter egos for their musical eras, to explore different types of genres and stuff like that. So it's a bit of I would say that alter egos work best in music,
Mm-hmm.
because they have the most impact that way. Because if you change, especially if you change your look entirely, and like, for example, I'm pretty sure Childish Gambino, he kept on saying that he was gonna stop being Childish Gambino, but he keeps on being Childish Gambino, so I don't know what the fuck is going on with that.
I think
But-
he just can't escape the fact that being under Childish Gambino is what makes him money.
Probably. It's like one of those examples where I wouldn't say that this is his alter ego looks wise or even genre wise, I guess. I really don't think that he would be doing something so drastically different if he would have changed his name right now.
Mhm.
Like, he's always done something experimental. It's not like anything would be out of place in his discography, to be honest. Maybe if he's gonna start doing opera, then it's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, like, you needed a new name for that. Like, it makes sense that you would change your name. But overall, I don't know. The reason why this topic even came up, are you reading about something?
No, I am just looking at the lisaintroduces.com. The reason why we're
Oh,
talking
it's like a whole
about...
website? Does she have more characters out now?
Yep, they're all out.
Oh my god.
What inspired this episode was the launch of lisaintroduces.com. Go to that URL to see what we're talking about. And so essentially it's a project. I guess it's like to introduce Lisa's new album, maybe. Is that what this is? And she's introducing a bunch of different alter egos. All I have to say is the writing is giving, what is that magazine called? Like a J12. Like,
Oh yeah.
like just like,
J12 are definitely questionnaires that your friends would fill out when you were kids. I don't know if this is an international experience or not, but
I think so.
it was like
yeah.
a really huge, yeah?
Yeah. They would be in these
Yeah.
like teen magazines, like
No,
J-
it wasn't even teen magazine. We used to have like journals. Like, you would buy a journal, and those journals that were targeted towards tween audiences would have like pages that have like kind of like name, like your favorites,
Yeah.
your dislikes, and you would put your relationship towards the person who owns that journal at the top too, like, oh, like best friend, enemy. Like,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
so dramatic.
We had
Like,
that
it's
too.
crazy, bitch.
I just don't like, I wonder what that's like, how we could search that up. You know what we should do, Lisa? We should source a vintage one and fill it out together on the Patreon.
Oh my god, yes, that would be so cute.
That'd
That would
be
be so
so funny.
fun.
Oh, sorry, the magazine I was thinking of was
It would be cute, but also like funny as shit, because I'm telling you, the most important part about this questionnaire is that they need to be dramatic
Mhm.
and stupid, and they need to make you feel like you're a 12-year-old again, in a sense of like
Dude, and like the
It just-
drama ensues because like
the drama and being like, I have enemies. Like,
yeah,
you
and
don't
then
have enemies.
somebody in your friend group who was watching you fill it out told that girl at school that you wrote her as your enemy in your journal.
Yeah, exactly, bitch. Straight up. And also, like, who are your enemies? Fucking cavities? Like, bitch, be for real. Like, it's just so stupid. But that's just how it is. That's why that's what comes to mind about Lisa, you know? I will say one thing, that she got some criticism at first for her not cartoon, oh my god, like a comic book, because she's releasing a comic book with these characters. And the comic book, it's only like I believe 50 pages maybe, but the whole point is that at first people were like, knowing what Lisa's been doing recently and knowing her commitment to the capitalist brain rot mentality, everyone was like, oh, it's gonna be AI, like it's gonna be AI produced and whatever. And then I will give her this, that it wasn't AI produced. It was actually done by artists and it was done properly. So, okay, just so people know, because I know that this was like part of the discussion or whatever. I don't know who made the descriptions, who was the, I don't know, maybe it was Lisa who wrote it, or regardless of whether she wrote it or not, she definitely had a say in it, whether
Yeah.
she like approves of it or not. You know, it's just, there's no way around it because it was produced by her production company. It wasn't YG. It wasn't a big corporation where she's a little fish. She's the fish in her corporation now. She is the CEO. And actually, you know what makes me like, it's really funny how Jisoo was like talking about being CEO and being like, yeah, they asked me if they can change their mouse, their computer mouse, and what am I supposed to know that too now? I was like, bitch, okay, that's funny.
She's the best
Anyway,
one out of them all, in my
I
opinion.
know. And like the one that really ticked people off is Vixie.
Yeah.
So we've got 5 alter egos of Lisa, okay? Which is honestly, this is very Korean marketing strategy inspired, because not the characters or something like that, but the fact that she's constantly talking about so many alter egos in her and how she wants to show all of them. It's basically her being like, yeah, I don't want to market myself to one market. I want to make as much money as
As
possible of
possible.
all of them. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say that it's just my alter ego. That's why I'm making dubstep and fucking like
Ballads.
ballads. Yeah, like this is the this is the approach. That's why the first one is Roxy and she's sitting with a guitar. She said, I'm gonna be my own rosé.
Yeah, she's like, she's literally gonna be, she's making her own Jenny, Rose, Jisoo, fuck it, put her in there, and pretty much everyone in between. She will infect every genre.
Straight up,
She's gonna
straight
get her
up. And
little claws in there. Like,
yeah, and listen, the Vixie one, okay, so there's 5 characters. One of them is Roxy, the other one is Sunny, the other one is Kiki, Speedy,
Speedy is funny as hell
Gonzalez,
too.
and Vixie. Listen, so I'm gonna read it to you, or actually, you know what? Would by assistant want to do the honors?
Sure. For reading Vixie? You just want Vixie? Okay.
Yeah.
I might gag.
Dude, I just want you to get prepared, okay? All the artists, all of you who are familiar with alter egos, like alter egos of fucking Marcel Duchamp, whatever, we're gonna be criticizing them today too, because honestly, I think they're underutilizing it and they're very stupid about it.
I don't
And
even know if they're
whatever, we'll talk about it.
underutilizing it. I feel like, dude, it's actually like a disgrace. Like,
Like
maybe
it's kind of like a
don't.
gimmick.
Yeah, it's like
Like
her.
I think it could be a really powerful tool, but I think that a lot of people use it as a gimmick, especially in fine arts. But we get away with it as fine artists to
Mhm.
compare to Lisa, because in our environment, first of all, a lot more things are getting accepted, because you could be the most fucking, you could just not know how to do anything and you could still be an artist, like
Mhm.
if you just market yourself properly to the bourgeois, you know. But with these guys, like if you just sound cringe or whatever, no one's gonna be like trying to be respectful like people are in a gallery, right? So I feel like they get a worse deal in that sense. But okay, go ahead.
Okay. Lisa introduces Vixie. Oh god, I can't even do the first one. Only baddies allowed. Oh, you've heard of me? Good. Sorry. I'm Vixie. The only the one they love to call the villain. My lashes came to slay, so step out of my way. My nails cut deeper than your excuses. I'm too busy living in my villain era. Let the haters hate. So, what's it gonna be? Friend or foe? Are you rolling with me or am I running you over?
Just for you
I'm
guys,
choosing.
just for context, this woman is the same age as me.
Yeah, I would love to be run
Okay.
over at this point.
Honestly, maybe.
If that's what I have to roll with, I might want to be run over.
Girl, now that we're reading the fill out form, let me say the category, like name, and you would say the name, okay?
Okay,
Let's
okay.
do it. Let's do it
So,
like
fun
this.
facts.
Name,
Vixie,
star sign,
Scorpio,
Scorpio. Aura,
obviously, red,
fear,
nothing.
Color.
Black and red again.
Mm-hmm. Pet.
A Doberman.
Drink.
Nobody
Drink.
fucking likes your tears.
This is Hellsa. This is Hellsa. Oh my god. Place.
Behind your back.
BFF.
You. Brackets. For now.
Accessory.
Lashes and nails.
Song.
Fuck up the world. That is what you've been doing.
You know, the reason why, for example, I'm not talking about people like I believe like Juice World is kind of also was ridiculous like that, you know, like kind of dramatic and stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't talk about these guys, even though there's a plenty, you know. The reason why I don't talk about them is because I don't listen to them. And I know about Blackpink. I know about all 4 of those girls because when I was like 18 or whatever, they debuted and I was listening to them. I was enjoying a bit of that music.
Yeah,
you know?
they were huge.
They were huge, and I remember like they kind of got me into K-pop in general. Like I started to pay attention more to Korean groups and Korean music, and that's why we're even talking about them here instead of like also dogging at a bunch of like grown adult men in our industry that say the stupidest shit imaginable. It's just these people have already shown themselves to be competent enough to be global stars. That's why it's so ridiculous when they pull this shit out. You're like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Did you seriously need Teddy this entire time? Teddy is their producer. We were all like, now finally the girls will be artists. They will show their colors. And then they showed us their colors, and you realize that they got stuck in what probably the age that they got famous. Maybe even then, I mean, like what they got famous when they were like 20, 22. That's too old to be doing all that. So I don't know. I feel like it was probably before then.
Girl, I'm just like reading these now too, like going through the rest of them. And Vixie's is not the same as the rest of them, if I just noticed. Because like why does hers say place and everyone else says favorite place? She's just too badass to have a favorite. She doesn't favorite anything. Just place.
One of them is Roxy, right? Of course, guess what it is? Rock. And it's not even rock music because I believe that she's referencing her song Rockstar. It's not, I wouldn't call it rock music, but okay. And the text is literally like, this is so like someone wrote this, you guys. Someone got paid to write this. I don't know if it was Lisa, I don't know if it was someone else, but someone got paid for this.
She definitely had to view it and was like, okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
at least. So what it says, I'm a rock star, baby, I'm a rock star, and you can call me Roxy. Sit back and enjoy the entertainment of your life. If you know me, you know I live and breathe this lifestyle. Follow me and I'll give you a glimpse into my world. Music is all around me because it is me. I escape into a world that is electrifying with every stroke of my guitar. She doesn't play guitar, by the way. Maybe she's learning now, but if you're learning at this age, it's going to take you a really long time to get any good at it, to actually incorporate it into a description of your personality. This is why I live, is to entertain, always command the stage. My accent is getting like all out of whack while reading this.
Your alter egos are coming out as you read all
Straight up. I'm getting triggered.
Sunny's the funniest because all of a sudden she's French.
No fucking way. No fucking way. Wait. Okay, Sunny. Lisa introduces Sunny.
It's funny because it's like you're saying you're introducing them because you're Lisa.
Yeah.
Bijou. No time to waste. So kiss me.
Is it Bijou? I thought it was Bisou.
Whatever. Bonjour.
Bisou. No time to waste. So kiss me. Bonjour. I'm Sunny. Charmed, I'm sure. No. I have a certain je ne sais quoi for sun-kissed days. No, that's not what it means. Okay, to those of you who don't speak French, which I'm kind of in that category, but I know what je ne sais quoi means, bitch. It means I don't know what. Like, I don't know what. Like, when you're explaining something, that's why it's usually used when you're explaining that someone's got that it factor.
Yeah,
that's why they're like, she's got that je ne sais quoi. So, like, you can't explain it, but it's there, right? That's why it's usually used in English, like not in English, but in within English. Whenever it's used as a phrase, it's used in that context. And in French, straight up, it's just I don't know what. So I have a certain I don't know what for sun-kissed days.
Yeah, it's not. You would never write it like that. You never use it like that. But anyways,
it's not right in French and it's not right in English. Girl, song Moonlit Floor. Yeah, that song is the worst one, by the way. Out of the ones that I've heard, it was bad, especially because it's for Arnold or whatever his name is. Ugh. Whatever.
It just kills me that she had to use that Sixpence None the Richer sample, because I fucking love that song, the original song.
I know, it's so good.
Yeah.
Don't use it for a guy who's literally coming from like one of the evil families. Like, why is your family at fucking inauguration of American president, I mean.
Literally.
Ew. Anyway.
Kiki.
Lisa introduces Kiki. Why too cute? Instead of Y2K, for those of you who don't see the text on the screen, why too cute as in Y2K kind of song, New Woman. I mean, she is on that song.
Yeah, she's in that song.
And also, you know what about that song? I would say that the song, the production is not the best, but I kind of like, I vibed with it. I liked it when it came out. But then I was like, I found out about all this stuff that Lisa been up to with her boy and everything in the past couple of years, because I wasn't following it, and I was like, I don't think I want to listen to you anymore. And with this music video, this is probably the best music video any of them have released. It is made by one of the veteran producers or directors of music videos who produced a lot of like iconic pop music videos, from like usually American ones. Again, money's been spent.
Yeah, I mean, to get Rosalia
on that song and on that video, it's
for sure.
And then the last one is Speedy.
This is arguably the second dumbest one.
Yeah. Buckle up.
I'll give you a new meaning to fast fashion. Tens across the board. Souped up and supercharged. Just installed the NOS kit. What the fuck? Dude, the person who wrote this watched Fast and the Furious one time. Try and keep up. Star sign Libra, aura green, fear stop sign.
So, a lot of people were making jokes about this. I did see them on Twitter, especially about Vixie. People being like, oh, this looks like that era when people were making dark Elsa, you know, from Frozen, and they called her Hellsa. And like, I agree, it sounds like a Wattpad type of deal that people write, like 13-year-olds write for 8 to 11-year-olds to read. You know,
it's gonna be
like that's the demographic. And a lot of people were like, well, that's the demographic Lisa is catering to. And it's like, no, she clearly isn't. She's clearly at this point aiming for global superstardom. Yeah. She's clearly trying to do the whole Rihanna shtick. I think that this is like her kind of guiding light.
Yeah, there's no way she's catering to that age group.
That age group is gonna listen to you no matter what if they just think that you're cool. If they see you on TV, they see you on the stage, and they like the way you look, they're gonna like you. You don't have to make something conceptually like this for them to get into you. Like, if you are literally aiming at that age group, it's not a lot that you need to do. Like, there's usually they just pick random pop stars that really speak to them. All of us had a pop star just randomly, one that we really enjoyed when we were little. There was really no reason, conceptually speaking, why we liked them. We just did. Like, we just liked a couple of songs that were catchy or something like that, and then you just get it like attached to them for some fucking reason. The point here is I really want us to compare different types of alter egos and talk about why this type of approach is not actual alter ego work, artistry wise. There's a part to it that I guess you don't really particularly have to follow in music if you are not a contemporary, like, conceptual musician. If you're not a conceptual musician, you don't have to go that far with it. But I think that the most successful alter egos are usually in some shape or form a commentary or a metaphorical representation of something that the artist is trying to process or talk about. And also, it can be a character that an artist kind of created out of people that they've seen around. So, for example, Lynn Hershman Leeson, with a lot of fine artists, it's really hard to find proper documentation sometimes that is not just people kind of randomly naming things like, oh, at first she did this and then she did that and that's kind of it. I always find it really difficult to understand those artists. I wish that there was more organization to their approach usually.
Yeah.
And I know that this is, again, someone's going to be like, Lisa, you're so Apollonian about your approach to art. And it's like, yeah, I am. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But it's just like, I just understand that years later, it's practically impossible to put together all the pieces of context to understand why the hell you made that artwork at that point without it being like, without you being a massive artist that's been documented extensively. That's why it's easier to do so much research and understand in depth whatever the fuck Picasso was doing, because every bitch around him was like interviewing him.
Right.
Like every person around him, every single one of them was either interviewing him or writing shit down about whatever they saw in his studio or whatever. So whenever it comes to people like, for example, Lynn Hershman Leeson, I was like looking at it, and one of the things, for example, one of the that was the beginning of her work in this alter ego region. It was this character she created, and her name is Roberta Breitmore.
Which I love, like how her name is just like so normal, Roberta Breitmore.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I like about this too. It's not fucking Kiki because we're gonna Kiki, because it's someone who likes to Kiki.
Kiki, yeah, it's
like, you know what I mean? And also, it's one of those. It's one
not
of those
gimmicky.
Things,
like she,
it's not gimmicky, exactly, and that's what this is. I feel like, from the things that I've seen, there might be some like niche videos somewhere, or maybe niche documents or interviews where she talked about it more in depth, where she explained not just how she just started doing it or whatever, but why she continued on doing these things and why she did this thing specifically. Because she explains her actions, she explains like what she's done, but it all, like, a lot of the time it's really confusing to understand the approach behind it, like the logic behind the actions that she chose. But regardless of that, she started it by just getting a hotel room and just living in it like Roberta, this character, this person, this woman that she created in her mind. And she would let people come up to this room and like explore the room and whatever, and talk to them and stuff like that. So it felt very interactive. It's kind of like a performance. That's the thing that I kind of like don't know exactly why this was the first thing that she did, or not the first thing, but the first like big thing. But she's been there for a really long time in that room. Yeah, but also on top of it all, I'm like, where did she get the money to just have a hotel room to do this 24/7? Like, well, probably not 24/7, but you know what I mean, like extensive period of time. Regardless, the most interesting thing about this project to me is that it lasted about 7 years, first of all. Second of all, at some point she hired 3 other people to play Roberta and be Roberta.
Yeah, like be her
actually
clones.
Have IDs that say Roberta's name. How did they get it? I don't know. I think that because like America has been like fucking weirdly rural about their documentation at that time, and it's like literally not that far back.
Yeah,
It's like 70s, I think.
Yeah, it was in the 70s.
And it's literally not that difficult to fucking like, I don't know, just I guess they just came up with an identity and the government was like, okay.
Yeah, she was able to get a lot of physical evidence. She got a driver's license, she got credit cards, she even got letters.
But that's what I was gonna talk about her specifically. But first, about those 3 that she hired, that they lived like Roberta. So there was 3 other Robertas who were also performing Roberta's life. But for her specifically, it was a crazy experience because she couldn't get a credit card, but Roberta could. That's what killed me about it. Not that she could, not that she like got a credit card or like a bank account. Because the thing is, I think it's very difficult to do nowadays, to be honest. Like, I don't think that you can just fucking waltz in somewhere and be like, yeah, my name is this and I won this document or whatever, and then from that document get a bunch of other documents. It's not that easy
Mm-hmm.
as it used to be, I guess. But the fact that she couldn't have gotten this credit card because of like her credit score or credit history, but this no one, this Roberta who literally spawned out of nowhere at the age of 20 or whatever.
It's
Isn't
just,
that crazy?
it is crazy. I mean, it goes to show like the effect of not not like branding yourself, but like the veneer that you can create and how that can get you into places and can give you all of these other like benefits. You know, you don't have to, like, she was still herself, but
Yeah.
she had this veneer that wasn't Leeson, you know? It wasn't Lynn.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
someone
it's
else.
like having this clean slate.
Mhm.
And it's crazy that it's not even like they they don't even think about how suspicious it is that this grown woman just came out of nowhere. She doesn't have a work history, she doesn't have a history of anything, and they would provide her with a credit card but not Lisa, who's an actual person who's been living her entire life and like has history, right? So it's
Mhm.
really interesting to see that that was the result of it, because there's a lot of things that kind of came to play there, like she had a bunch of people who were playing this character, whatever, but this part was the one that really stood out to me, that she could get so many documentations and credit cards and bank
Mhm.
account and other things like that, while not like while that person not being a real person at all, like that identity being completely fake.
Yeah. And also like it's there's like something kind of funny about it too. She's the original Roberta and she's just like, "You know what? I don't want to be Roberta anymore, but I can hire these three people to be Roberta." Like
Yeah, that's straight up. It's so funny because she was like, well, Roberta is Roberta, she's gonna go on living.
yeah.
It's like this person actually became a person outside of her
Yeah, exactly. But
entirely.
it's like this the power of like the power of the alter ego is could be strong if
Yeah,
utilized in this way.
exactly. Like it was so like it was introduced and kept alive for such a long time that it became its own person. That's crazy in terms of just identity shit, you know? And the
Mhm.
same thing with like the way that she was getting people to be Roberta correctly in quotations is she created diagrams of like what kind of makeup we're supposed to put on her. The paintings of her explaining how to put that makeup on, where what kind of color goes and what kind of style of makeup she's doing, what kind of hairstyles and whatever. That painting that describes it with like diagrams and whatever is one of the works that she sells now.
Yeah. It's just so I love how uncanny valley that is though.
I know.
It,
It's so interesting. Like genuinely that particular part about her not being able to get a credit card but showing up with a new name and being able to get it is insane to me.
mhm.
I mean, I'm sure it's not possible today, at least in Canada. Like you have to have a history and documentation of like, for example, from like institutions and whatever. It's like really difficult to actually get
I
even
believe
a
you have
bank
to
account
have an
nowadays.
social insurance number
Yeah. So
to
a
do
social
it.
insurance number, you don't just like spawn it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about her practice. She like talked a lot about identity, and she was one of the first ones who talked about AI and
Yes.
androids and kind of like virtual reality people and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
literally she was working in the late 60s 70s, like when she started, I believe. So she was doing all that even back then, and this was actually so crazy to me because I didn't realize how recent this normalization of sound and video in galleries actually is, because it turns out that like obviously Marcel Duchamp was one of those guys who kind of made it normal to just have normal objects in the gallery because of the whole ready-made thing, right? But it wasn't until way later when you were allowed to like to have audio work in museums or galleries, because she couldn't get some of her works shown there
Yeah.
because she had sound, which is so crazy to me now because it became such a norm that I just expect to hear weird noises when I'm in the gallery, especially if it's
Yeah.
contemporary like conceptual art.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I like about her alter egos too because Roberta kind of like grows with the world, with her artistic endeavors. Like, is that her longest project? I think so, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like you can see so many different eras of just how society is progressing, especially with technology and all of that, from not being able to have sound and like digital, I guess not digital art, but like art that speaks to more of that digital world was very underappreciated and even probably not considered conceptual art back then, to it being a really important part of conceptual art now. You can kind of see that through the beginning of her Roberta project towards the end, where she recreates Roberta's initial hotel project in Second Life, which is like so fucking insane.
That's the funniest part. When I found out that she created Roberta in My Second Life, she's a real bitch. If she started doing her Roberta shit in the 2000s or like even the late 90s, if that was the start of that project, I know she would have made Roberta in Sims.
Oh, 100%.
I just
100%.
know that she would have done it.
I feel like somebody must have done something like that.
I mean, I'm sure someone has, but I don't know how legal that is. I don't know if you would get in trouble.
Yeah, because it's her work. That's true.
No, 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 not because it's her work, but because it's Sims. Like it's a company that produced the game.
Ah.
Um, I don't know, but I don't know the legalities of that. I guess you can do it and find out.
Yeah. Should I?
I think that a lot of the things that she's done was probably not taken that seriously back then. But even now, just because she's a woman who's also like, I'm telling you, she would have used Sims for something. And Sims is a literally 25-year-old game that still doesn't get respect in gaming community from like gamers who think that it's not gaming, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a gamer, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But this is what I've heard from people who are into Sims heavy and at the same time like other games and kind of get frustrated when people are being kind of dismissive about it. But regardless of that, her alter egos, that was an interesting project. But I think that it's more like the reason why it became more interesting is because of the commitment and the time, and because it's not a caricature of a person.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not just like a veneer. It's like this person has a personality, a gait, and how they walk. She like went so far to like get her legitimate documentation that she is a person. Like that is actually insane. But so it's just sick commentary though.
the walking and talking type of deal, when you change that, it's kind of very much relating to performance as in acting. That's very much what actors do. A lot of actors who, especially who work from body language and
Mm-hmm.
then go into other things, like the ones that start with the walk of the character, would probably talk about it and be like, yeah, like that's the way you do this. It doesn't feel like a gimmick, but also it doesn't feel like a scapegoat to me, because that's what I also dislike about alter egos oftentimes. And especially it's more prevalent in music because of popularization of it in music. Specifically, I would say that because oftentimes you choose a pseudonym to be a musician, I think that
Mm-hmm.
it kind of makes it a natural progression that people start to see it as a separate entity from them, because this is mostly their job that they're doing versus um, the them outside of work, right? Like they think that they created an alter ego, but it's like, no, bitch, that's just your job. It's kind of like being like, I got an alter ego when I'm working at my retail job. No, it's not an alter ego.
Ego.
It's just
It's just
like
like
you're just adjusting to the job environment, right?
yeah, I feel like a lot of the times, especially with music and like other types of like, I want to call it entertainment, like in media. Yeah, it's such a scapegoat way of being like, okay, maybe if I do this, if I try and do this, it might gain me some popularity, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to fully invest in that, so I'm gonna make this alter ego.
Yeah, or this specific thing that a lot of really fucked up men do. Where the thing is, like, I understand exploring themes of violence and whatever. I just don't want to hear about it from men, to be honest. I just think that they should be barred from it. Like,
Honestly,
you do enough in real life. You do 97% of it in real life. I think that you can sit down.
yeah, I don't need to
Um,
be knowing about all of that.
yeah. And then
Stop alter ego. stop making a second version of yourself. It's not an alter ego. That's just you.
In art as well, the
Mm-hmm.
most famous example of this, I would say, is probably Eminem.
Mm.
And like his like alter ego
Slim
Slim
Shady.
Shady,
Yep.
where he would be saying the most fucked shit, like literally disgusting, vile shit.
Yeah.
And he would just be like, no, it's just Slim Shady saying this. And it's like, fuck, dude.
So
I
funny.
think it's actually worse than being like, this is what I'm saying in the song because this is like my state at this point or whatever. And then I'm also kind of pushing back on it, for example, in the next song where I'm like being sane, you know, like here I'm being insane.
Yeah.
And here I'm being sane, whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's worse when you're just like, this is a character. But also, I do understand why people do it because sometimes I believe that a lot of the most interesting shit that you can talk about in art can be on the fringes of human experience. And sometimes you don't want to actually experience it or be in it as a person.
Yeah.
So you're like, let me be an actor in this
Yeah.
situation
Yeah.
where I'm not this person, but like you adopt their either their storyline, for example, if it's a famous character or something like that, or like, you know, like a Greek mythology character or something like that. It makes sense to do that way, but it's specifically oftentimes used by male rappers and male musicians who are like in rock, for example, music. That's also quite common, where they do this alter ego shit, but they do it to rap and sing about extreme violence against women, and they're like, it wasn't me. And it's like, you live in a world that's literally at a 10, like turned up all the way up in terms of violence against women. This isn't something that is something
just, like,
subversive that you can explore through this character work that would be so fringe or so taboo, but at the same time so artistically powerful and interesting to explore the mind of a killer, you know, or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
but like I feel like that's why it's kind of important that if you do alter ego work, speaking to and referencing the ideas of identity, you know what I mean, and how like just like how authentic it can be, how like skewed it can be. I feel like that's a kind of an important aspect that it like is self-referential. Why can't I say ours today? What the fuck?
I don't know, girl. I agree, but also there's like, I think that there's like an aspect that's really important in that you can explore the fringes of experience, of a human experience, if you are the one who belong to a group that experiences it.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that.
Turned towards them. Like, if a woman makes a fucking album about violence against men, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's actually could be an exploration of extreme feelings that are not a reality, because they're not a reality.
Yeah, it's like,
just statistically speaking, obviously it's not an absolute, don't be stupid, to those of you who are like, not all, like, yeah, fucking obviously, but statistically speaking, it's overwhelmingly the opposite. So if that would be the case, I would be like, yeah, I can see how this could be an exploration of something.
Yeah, because I think you have to. I think it's simply just thinking about what are you perpetuating with this identity. Do you know what I mean? Like,
perpetuating, but also like, what are you? It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like comedy.
mm-hmm.
Where there's this idea of like punching up or punching down.
Yeah.
Where it's not funny when you're punching down.
Yeah.
But it is funny when you're punching up.
Exactly.
So I feel like it's a similar type of deal where you have to understand that your identity as someone who is speaking as that character would still be important. It's kind of like having a straight cis man playing a trans woman. It's still a little freaky when at this point in time, not a single, like many trans women don't even get a chance to be in movies, right? So like, if that wouldn't be the case, statistically speaking, then I think that nobody would give a fuck if a cis man was playing a trans woman, honestly. If they were all getting so many opportunities, just as many opportunities in terms of just per capita, as cis people do, nobody would give a fuck, right? Like, no, well, everyone would be like, whatever. It's kind of the same thing as like this joke recently, this guy John Marco something, he like made a joke being like, if you do an Italian accent right now, no one's gonna think that you're being a racist.
Yeah.
Because they're not actually being like persecuted in America.
Yeah.
For being Italian.
Yeah, you're not
So, you know,
exactly.
he was like, if we actually were, like, we need to work really hard to get us all to an equal plane, because then we can actually make jokes about everybody.
Exactly. I 100% that is exactly, I 100% agree with that.
That's why, like, in the world, yeah, Eminem, in a world where women don't actually get killed the most by their partners, by their fathers, by their brothers, by people who actually are supposed to be there, like, not protectors maybe, but people who care and give a fuck
Yeah,
about
and
them, right?
love them. Yeah.
If you would have been living in that type of world, you could have said anything in your songs, and we would have been like, yeah, that's the exploration of a deranged mind of this like made up character. But
Mm-hmm.
you're living in a different world where it doesn't read like that. It doesn't work like that. You have to understand that art doesn't exist in a vacuum. It only exists in context.
Yeah.
Many people make art thinking that they're in a vacuum. That's what Slim Shady is being in a
Yeah.
vacuum.
Yeah. It's like
And
you can't just do that.
it doesn't make it a better art. It just makes it disconnected and weird, because it's like, who is this for? Are you an artist or are you an amateur?
Yeah.
Are you actually trying to be on a real artist level when you're all doing this shit like knowingly and
Yeah.
using some kind of logic, some kind of approach?
Yeah.
Not
And I
me
think
rolling my R in the middle of approach all of a sudden.
what's up with
Approach.
bullshit? And it's also like just expecting us as the viewers, the listeners, to do all the work
Mm-hmm.
in like trying to understand, oh, Slim Shady is Eminem is not a bad guy just because he has a Slim Shady alter ego. Like
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have to do mental gymnastics to see like to understand Eminem as not being a terrible misogynist, but that's just like tricking yourself because it's like
Yeah.
he's not using his alter ego to say anything important really, and he's not using Eminem to say something about his alter ego as saying something important, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I'm sure that we're not fucking Emineminists
Emineminist. I don't know.
to like tell you
Yeah.
100% like which lines you can look at,
I
or
don't
like
know.
which
Like,
albums explore whatever.
well, for me though, it's just like if any of you guys have ever listened to the song Kim,
Mm-hmm.
then you already know. Like it that just went too far, respectfully.
Yeah, you don't even
Like,
have to know his entire discography to know enough.
yeah. You just have to listen to that one song or even just don't even listen to it. Read the lyrics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I think that a lot of the times people are like, well, he's exploring this, he's exploring. Yeah, I know for a fact you're not in the arts. I know for a fact you're not educated in the arts. I know for a fact you didn't give two shits to actually study even one single artist who's actually a fine artist when you say shit like that. Because I'm like, oh, an amateur started like having an argument with me. Because what do you mean? Like, this is the type of deal that I would have said before getting my education,
mhm.
before turning 18, you know, when I was a minor. Maybe I would have said something like this, where I'm like, oh, they're playing a character and that's about it, you know? When you're an actual artist and you want to be taken seriously, you're going to have to do more than that. You're going to have to figure out exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, what your logic is. And every single part of your project is up for scrutiny. And when people are like, I know for a fact if I fucking release anything, like some kind of work, some kind of, I don't know, a video or whatever the hell, people are going to be criticizing it and being like, Lisa, you said that everything is up for like criticism. Yeah, it is. That's why you can criticize it, especially if you're giving a critique. Critique is more of a constructive type of thing that actually is useful, and it's
Yeah.
usually done by someone who's knowledgeable in the field. I just know that if Martha Rosler posted that video of the kitchen semiotics,
Yeah, semiotics, yeah.
if she would have posted that video on YouTube, I just know that every bitch would come in there and be like, your mic is not the best. And it's like, that's not the point. That's actually not. Well, your camera, because the thing is, she filmed it when? In the 60s or 70s?
Yeah.
The cameras, like, there were some cameras that were better. She could have gotten a better camera if she had more money and stuff like that. And it's the same thing today, yet people are still not fucking getting it. And they're like, the audio is like too quiet here and too loud over there. And it's like, have you ever interacted with art?
Yeah.
Do I understand what you mean? Yeah. Can it be a critique of the technique? Yeah.
Sure.
Or of technical qualities of the work? Yeah. But they conflate everything into one. They most people are so bad at giving critique that it's useless. It doesn't mean that I actually prefer when people who I really like, whose work I respect, who I know and know that they are very good at actually speaking about art, not just making it, but they can speak on it eloquently. Those people are the ones you really want in your studio, looking at your work and telling you what they think, you know? Even if it's harsh, even if it's like whatever, it doesn't actually sound harsh when it's in a professional environment. Like when I'm talking to someone who actually understands this shit, it's not that offensive because they are asking questions that you usually already thought about, and you can actually talk about it, talk it out, get this feedback from somebody else and move forward somewhere with your work. When I'm talking to people who are just those people who would say he's just playing a role in his like music or whatever, those people are the most fucking useless critics
Yeah.
imaginable, because those bitches would not be able to even understand the concept of your work, let alone speak on it, let alone speak on it eloquently, let alone speak on it in a way that would actually like
Make you
push
think
your
or like,
practice for further.
yeah.
I'm just saying, it is useless. It's just how it is. It's kind of like the same thing as like me coming up to an engineer or a doctor and trying to explain to them how they should do their work without actually me knowing anything about either one of those things.
Yep.
Like, yeah, the conversation is going to be a little useless. Some people are just naturally more gifted in terms of connecting the dots, or they're very thoughtful in general, and they can pick this shit up real quick. They can talk to you about art and actually give you some kind of insight that's really important, even though they're not in the arts at all. But most people, that's not the case. Why am I here?
Why are we here?
Honestly, going on a whole fucking rant for no reason. Also, the older you get, the less patience you have for conversations that are so primitive. Like, aren't we past this point? Haven't you had this conversation about 40 times just this year?
Yeah,
like
and
this specific conversation with this specific arguments.
Yeah, and it's crazy too, because like I feel like, I don't know, maybe this Roberta Breitmore character is actually so interesting to me when I'm thinking about it now, because I think like so much of it speaks about like authenticity and just obviously like it, especially with a like this project is still going on. Like if you go on Lynn Hershman, if you go onto her website, she says that the Roberta Breitmore started in 1973 and is currently still existing. Like it's ongoing. It's cool because like she did.
I don't know how it's ongoing, like specifically, because I'm pretty sure a couple of years or a year ago she said that her work was like that lasted just short of 10 years. Specifically, she like described it to be 7 years.
Yeah, but I think I feel like she says present in order to like, I think like this Roberta, the identity of Roberta has long surpassed her idea of making an alter ego. Like she exists in a graphic novel now. She
Oh
exists in
yeah.
Second Life.
That's so like it's not like physical performance
Yeah,
anymore,
but
but
she
it's like an identity is still yeah.
yeah, it's
Got
still
it.
there. And it's like funny because I feel like every time I talk to people about this type of shit, they actually think about, they're actually talking about how they want to brand themselves and market themselves. Makes me think about how people are viewing themselves and their identity is, at least for me, I don't know about I'm not saying it's everyone in the world, but like it feels like more and more people think of themselves as literally a meat suit, what's going on the outside, and that's your true identity. And of course I think we can not blame, but actually I don't blame social media or all of this stuff.
No,
Like
it's privilege. It's not a social media
yeah, it's
thing.
not
It's not at our
technology.
age. It's not technology. It's stupidity. Stupid people at any like in any class can be like this, but it's very much highly concentrated with the high earners in
Yeah.
quotations. People who were born into it specifically. It's the I wouldn't even say that it's specifically the laziness, but it's like this weird ass shit where they live in a different dimension where they do not understand that this idea of like less fortunate than them or whatever is not like a far off type of deal. I don't know. I really find those people really creepy.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like the most depressing thing about this all is like it's just like navigating this world and like trying to find other real people that you can talk. I don't know how to explain it. I'm like
It feels like you're talking to an android to
yeah,
some of them.
it's just
It's
like,
really really unsettling.
or like a PR person, like somebody who went through PR training.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm just like, why do you need to protect your brand to a other normal person like me?
Exactly, dude. That's
Like,
so weird. Because it's not even an interview or something like that. It's like the work identity, this alter ego at work, has seeped into reality to the point where we have to be this fake customer service persona that morphs into the right kind of, uh, Coke and whiskey party girl. And Coke, I mean like the one that you bump, girl, like after work when you're like hanging out with specific people. It's like this weird thing where you're supposed to be living so specifically in within this kind of like lines of whatever you're trying to do in terms of your professional life.
mhm.
Like it kind of like starts to dictate a lot of other things, like what kind of mugs you buy, what kind of fucking carpet you have in your house, or like what kind of place is acceptable for you to live in, or whatever the
Yeah,
hell. It's
it's
like
like you're
all of it is incorporated into one.
exactly. It actually is really scary, honestly. I don't
And it's
remember
a
the
9 to 5 type of person, by the
yeah.
way. Like they worked in a 9 to 5 type of environment, and yet this is what has happened.
Yeah, it's just like honestly terrifying. It's so funny because like now it's not even this idea of having an alter ego. It's like this is just who you are, and maybe you need to make an alter ego who's more of a human. Like
Maybe you have to, yeah, maybe go watch, like, how do autistic people do this? They learn through TV how to act like a normal person. Maybe you need to do that.
yeah.
Because it's not that you don't understand what the cues are, or that you're incapable of understanding those cues. You're creepy because you're so materialistic to the point where, and it's been generational enough
Mhm.
to the point where you haven't actually been around real culture in a way that's not parasitic. You're not like going to Italy and eating real Italian food is just parasitic. It's not you being a part of
Enriched.
culture.
Yeah, enriched in the
I'm
culture.
not saying that you can't enjoy it and can't go and do it. I'm just saying that it's not gonna actually make you any more cultured.
Yeah.
Um, this weird ass existence when you're acting like a fucking android,
Mhm.
um that was created for someone else's enjoyment, I guess. It's kind of like they act like this in relationships. They have a setting that they act on. They have a personality type in the relationship or whatever. They
Mhm.
act like that in a work environment. They act like that around friends. I hate the way that so many people speak even. I'm like, why are you talking to me like you're not a person?
Yeah, that too. I've
Like
noticed
neither
it.
one of us are. And I'm not even talking about condescending shit. It's not even condescension. Like there might be some situations where it's condescending tone, but usually what creeps me out more is that I don't think they can have a normal conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think they have normal like human like living, not even human, but like living thoughts and feelings when they're talking to you in real time.
Mhm.
It's like they don't have somewhere to like pull those things out from. They're talking to you, you're trying to have a conversation, and all you're getting is these platitudes all the time. And on top of it all, it's also this weird type of thing where they're constantly trying to perform in front of you. And I've talked about this before with my assistant. I believe that we did like an extra episode thing a long time ago, like in my previous apartment, whatever, where we talked about how like that even happens in relationships where you're in the same room together. There's only you two,
Yeah.
and he's performing a personality. A personality that's like, who's this for? Are
Yeah.
we sitting in front of an audience? Why is this happening? Like why is this like
Mhm.
weird behavior or like this weird conversation? Why are you having this with me, who's also just like a regular person who's not fucking hiring you or firing you?
Yeah. It it is really bizarre. Like I remember being told a couple times, yeah, I don't tell anyone anything because and this is only career and work branding wise, not even like personal shit like that they've gone through, but they're like, yeah, because I don't want people to use it against me. And I'm like, use it against you to damage your image? Like, is so bizarre. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But you know what? Also, it happens with which is really odd. But I think that the most glaring example of that in day to day life for everyone is the way that guys approach dating.
Mm.
Specifically the fact that they determine or they show their personalities in quotations, because usually those guys don't really have one. It's them trying to choose a partner who's going to represent what they actually want, like what kind of a impression they want to have on the outside world.
Yep.
Like they're trying to show through who she is, who they are, which is so weird and parasitic in nature. I don't know. It just creeps me out.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been a victim to that. What the fuck?
I think everyone
at
has.
this point, yeah, probably.
Everyone has. Even when you think you weren't, just think about people like saying that they have a type, right? And usually with dudes, they oftentimes talk about things that are perceived, not even things like, for example, just when it comes to like fashion or whatever, you know, they have their own weird shit that they notice that I don't, or the opposite. They don't notice something that I think is like a very obvious aesthetic and stuff like that. They have like their own aesthetic words to describe something. But we have seen this a lot with like me and my sister, and we've seen it a lot in terms of guys trying to find an artistic girl where they really want to be seen seriously in artistic circles, so they need an artsy, as they say, artsy girlfriend.
Yeah.
And it's like, not a single artsy girlfriend would want to be with anyone as boring as you are, bitch. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I know, like, nobody who is truly a good creative would ever be impressed by someone like that, like you.
Yeah, like you've got nothing going on and you want someone else to fill that void, not even for you to feel more interesting, but for you to be perceived by other people. Like you don't even give a fuck whether you like to spend time together as much as you want yourself to look good in front of other people.
Yeah.
It's just psychotic.
It's so true.
Every single day someone's like, I need to build an image. And they never do.
Yeah.
The maximum they do is like they have an aesthetic Instagram page, and it's like no one gives a fuck. We're not 14 anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, thanks for listening, you guys.
Thanks. Sorry. We'll come back next week with a lighthearted I
think this was pretty lighthearted.
Yeah.
I don't think it wasn't depressing at all. We didn't mention anything.
Go check out Lynn Hershman and her work, because honestly her work is cool as shit. Definitely on par with like the stuff that I liked during university. Oh, we forgot to talk about Marcel Duchamp's alter ego, but honestly it's not even worth it.
There's not much to say.
Yeah.
He just came up with a name and started dressing kind of like a woman, I guess, right?
Yeah, he did.
I don't know if he did full drag, like if he did it to the nines and tenths.
I mean, I think he
attempted
attempted to do full drag. Like I think he attempted to do the makeup. He's just not good at it.
Okay. See, sometimes you can't tell whether someone is like fully doing it and just not good at it, or they're not really committing and they're just being kind of like half-assy about it.
I think
whatever.
I feel like he just wasn't good at it. Like,
yeah, I think he was just not practicing enough. That's it. That's about it, I think.
Totally.
But regardless of that, I think that he just came up with a name and he was just like dressing up like this character, like this woman. But I don't think that it was honestly as well thought out as you would expect in terms of like why he would need this alter ego, what he was trying to do with it, you know?
Yeah.
But I might be wrong. If you have some niche information that I don't have, because I have looked into it and all that I found is him being like, I wanted to create an alternative of my identity. Like, what if I were a woman? And that was kind of it. I didn't find anything that was giving more to it. I guess maybe the fact that it was all the way back then, that it would be more of a challenge or more of a like an interesting approach because it wasn't as commonly done. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you for sure.
A little bit.
Yeah, I can't tell you for sure because I genuinely didn't find anything that was like so extraordinary about this approach in terms of like why did he do it, why this artworks were under this name and why this artwork was under another name. Because the thing is, this was not his only alter ego. I guess he never had another. I don't think he had another one that was like a full-on person, but I think that he had a bunch of aliases.
Yeah, totally. And a lot of people have aliases.
Like
in
fucking
this
20 of them or some shit. Like he kept on naming himself like Armut or whatever the hell.
Yeah,
like,
Armut.
He kept on like, just like naming shit like random names and then being like, yeah, it was me actually. And it's like, okay. Like I specifically, I just don't know if there was like rhyme or reason as to why he created these different names and other things like that. That's what basically my take is on his alter ego work.
Yeah, it's not like he does it. It's not like, okay, don't do that, but it's just like,
It's like, yeah, that's still Marcel Duchamp. Like, you
yeah,
can feel that it's this motherfucker, and there's no reason why he did it under this name or under that name.
yeah, like, what was the point?
Yeah.
What was the reason? Anyways,
That's
hope you
about it.
guys enjoyed this episode. Like, subscribe, send stars. Is it stars? No,
5
rate.
stars. Give us
Oh,
5
5
stars.
stars. Send
us
stars.
stars.
Hey, same thing.
Anyway.
Send us some stars. Bye.
Boy.